When God is about to give you something big, He will prepare your heart, your mind, and your spirit for what lies ahead. You might not see it right away, but there are unmistakable signs that will show you God is at work and that a great blessing is on the horizon. These signs may not always be what you expect, but they are evidence that God is moving in your life, preparing you for the greatness He has in store for you. Then one of the first signs is a stirring in your spirit, a sense of anticipation. It's as if something in your soul tells you that change is coming. You begin to feel restless, not in a negative way, but in a way that makes you yearn for more. It's a quiet whisper from God urging you to look beyond the present and toward the future. He is about to unfold. You will start to sense that your current situation, no matter how difficult, is only temporary. You may not see the path clearly, but your heart will begin to stir with hope and faith. Another sign that God is preparing you for something big is the silence. There will be moments where it feels as if the heavens are silent and you cannot hear God's voice as clearly as before. During these times, God is strengthening your faith. He is teaching you to trust Him even when you cannot trace His hand. This silence is not abandonment. Rather, it's God's way of building patience in you, teaching you that even when you don't hear from Him, He is still at work. In this quiet space, He is preparing you to receive the fullness of what He has planned. You may also notice that people in your life begin to shift. Some relationships may fall away and others may grow stronger. God uses relationships to shape us and to prepare us for what He has ahead. The people who leave your life may be the very ones holding you back from stepping into the destiny He has planned for you. It's important to understand that God sometimes has to remove certain people from your circle in order to make room for new connections, ones that will help you grow into the person He is calling you to be. At the same time, God may place people in your life who will encourage you, support you, and help guide you on the path ahead. These people will be your allies, and their presence will be a sign that God is moving you toward something great. These relationships are not accidents. They are divine appointments. God will send the right people to equip you for the purpose He has for you. Another sign that God is about to give you something big is the testing of your faith. You may find yourself in a season of trials facing challenges that seem impossible to overcome. These tests are not meant to break you, but to strengthen you. God uses these trials to refine you, to purify your heart, and to prepare you for the blessing that is to come. You may feel like you are in the fire, but remember, it is in the fire that God purifies gold. If He is refining you, shaping you into someone who can carry the weight of the blessing He is about to release, you will also notice that your vision begins to shift. God will start to show you glimpses of what He has planned for you. You may begin to see dreams or visions that give you a sense of direction. These revelations might not make sense immediately, but as you walk in faith, they will begin to unfold. Your eyes will be open to the opportunities around you, and you will start to see the possibilities where others see obstacles. This new perspective is a sign that God is expanding your vision and preparing you to see the big picture. You will also experience an increasing sense of peace in your heart. Even in the midst of uncertainty, there will be a deep, abiding peace that lets you know God is in control. This peace comes from knowing that He is faithful and that He will never leave you nor forsake you. It is a peace that passes all understanding, a peace that settles your spirit even when the world around you is in turmoil. When you feel this peace, know that God is aligning everything in your life for what is to come. Lastly, there will be an increased sense of favor on your life. You will notice that doors that were once closed are now opening. Opportunities that once seemed out of reach will suddenly become available to you. You will experience divine favor in ways you never expected. This favor is God's confirmation that you are on the right path and that He is orchestrating everything for your good. His favor will follow you, and it will open doors that no one can shut. When God is about to give you something big, He doesn't do it in the way the world expects. He works in mysterious ways, preparing you through silence, trials, shifting relationships, and divine favor. As you see these signs, know that they are not coincidences. They are the fingerprints of God's hand at work in your life. Trust in His timing and hold fast to His promises. God is always faithful, and He will bring to pass every good thing He has spoken over your life. Keep your heart open, your face strong, and your eyes fixed on Him, for the best is yet to come. When God is about to give you something big, It often feels like the world around you is changing. At first, it can be unsettling, even confusing. You might not be able to pinpoint exactly what is happening, but deep down, you can feel the shift. It's as though your spirit knows something is coming, and though your surroundings haven't caught up yet, there is an undeniable sense of expectancy building inside of you. God doesn't always reveal His plans to us in an obvious way, but when something big is on the horizon, He will begin to stir within your heart. The stirring is subtle at first. You may begin to feel restless as if your current life is not your final destination. There's a yearning inside of you that won't quite let you settle, a desire for something greater, something more fulfilling. It's not discontent. It's a holy restlessness that moves you to seek what God has in store for you. At times, you might not even be able to define exactly what it is you're yearning for, but you know in your spirit that something is on the way. This is the early preparation. When God begins to prepare your heart for the blessing He's about to pour out, is His favor reduced to earth. But the stirring is often followed by a season of silence. Silence is a part of God's preparation, though it can feel like abandonment when you're in the middle of it. You may pray, seek, and wait, but it seems like God isn't speaking as clearly as He once did. It can feel like you're all alone in this waiting period. But this silence is purposeful. It is not a sign that God has forgotten you or that He's distant. Rather, it's a time when God is strengthening your faith. In these quiet moments, He teaches you to trust Him, even when you don't hear His voice in the way you expect. In the silence, God is working behind the scenes, laying the groundwork for the blessing that is coming. He may be aligning people and circumstances in your life that you cannot yet see. He may be arranging things that are necessary for the success of what's ahead. During this time, you may feel like nothing is happening, but in reality, God is preparing everything to fall into place at the right moment. In this quiet space, your faith is being tested and refined, and your patience is growing. This is a season where you are learning to lean on God even more, relying on His word and His promises, even when your circumstances are silent. When God is about to give you something big, He often causes shifts in your relationships. Some people may walk out of your life while others will come in. Relationships are powerful tools in God's hands, and He uses them to shape and refine us for what is to come. You may find that people who are once close to you suddenly drift away or distance themselves. This can be painful, especially if these relationships were once important to you. However, this is one of the signs that God is preparing you for the bigger things He is about to release. Sometimes, God has to remove people who are holding you back or who are not aligned with the next chapter of your life. It's not that these people are bad or that they didn't serve a purpose in your life. It's just that, for the blessing God is about to bring, you need space for new relationships, those that will encourage you, sharpen you, and help you grow. When God is ready to elevate you, He will send people into your life who will help propel you forward. These people will come with wisdom, insight, and support, and their presence in your life will be a sign that God is moving you toward your destiny. God doesn't just shift relationships to bring in the right people. He will also remove the wrong ones. He may break certain bonds, especially if they are toxic or keeping you from growing. It may feel like a loss in the moment, but know that it is part of God's plan to make room for something greater. He knows what you need for the next season, and if you will trust Him in these moments of transition, you will see how He replaces the old with the new. Every new relationship God brings will have a purpose, whether to encourage, to teach, or to sharpen you. Along with these relational shifts, you will often experience seasons of trial. Trials, tests, and challenges are inevitable parts of the Christian walk, and when God is about to release something big in your life, you can expect a time of testing. These trials are not meant to break you or destroy you. They are designed to refine you. God allows us to go through difficult circumstances, to purify our hearts, and to prepare us for what's ahead. It's in the fire that we are made pure. The challenges you face will strengthen you, and through them you will learn to rely more fully on God's strength rather than your own. These tests may take many forms. You might face financial difficulties, health struggles, relational tensions, or even moments of doubt. But remember, each trial is an opportunity for growth. God is using every hardship to shape you into the person you need to be in order to carry the blessing He is preparing for you. Without these trials, you wouldn't have the strength, the faith, or the character to handle what's coming next. In fact, the bigger the blessing, the more intense the trial. But don't despair, for God is with you in the fire. Just as He was with the 3 Hebrew boys in the furnace, He will be with you, refining you and making you stronger with each test. As you walk through this season of preparation, your vision will begin to shift. The way you see the world, your circumstances, and your future will begin to change. God will give you glimpses of His plan for you, visions of what He's about to do. These glimpses might come in dreams, in quiet moments of prayer, or through the words of others. You may not understand them completely at first, but in time, the pieces will begin to come together. As you continue to seek God, He will open your eyes to new opportunities, new paths, and new possibilities that you had never noticed before. Your vision will expand. You will begin to see the bigger picture, realizing that God's plans for you are greater than anything you could have imagined. You will begin to dream bigger, to expect more, and to believe that what God has for you is beyond anything you could achieve on your own. This shift in your vision is a sign that God is preparing your heart for what He is about to do. When you start to see things differently, it's because God is positioning you for the blessings He has in store. In the midst of all this, there will be a sense of peace that settles in your heart. This peace won't come from your circumstances. It will come from knowing that God is in control. There is a peace that surpasses all understanding, a peace that comes from trusting in God's faithfulness. When you are in a season of waiting, or even when you are in the midst of trials, this peace will guard your heart and mind. It will be a sign that God is with you, that He is working all things together for your good. When you feel this peace, you can be sure that God is preparing you for something big. Finally, as God is preparing to release something big into your life, you will experience a favor that you've never known before. Doors that were once closed will begin to open. Opportunities that seemed out of reach will suddenly become available to you. This divine favor will follow you wherever you go. It will open doors that no man can shut. You will begin to see breakthroughs in areas where you've been stuck for years. This favor is a sign that God is orchestrating everything in your life for your good. He is clearing the path for you to walk into the blessing He has prepared. This favor will also come with responsibility. As God elevates you, He will require more from you, but He will never give you a blessing that you are not ready to handle. His favor will be a confirmation that you are on the right path and that He is aligning everything for your benefit. Trust in His timing and trust in His ability to make a way where there seems to be no way. When God is about to give you something big, He will prepare you in ways you can't always see. The stirring in your spirit, the silence, the shifting of relationships, the testing of your faith, the changing of your vision, the peace in your heart, and the favor that surrounds you. These are all signs that God is moving. Let Him in the waiting and know that He is working all things for your good. You are being prepared for a blessing beyond your understanding, and when the time is right, God will release it into your life in ways you never imagine. Keep your faith strong, your heart open, and your eyes fixed on Him, for He is faithful to complete the work He has begun in you. As you continue walking through these seasons of preparation, there may come a point when you feel like you're nearing the moment of breakthrough. At first, it might seem like the end of the road is just around the corner, but as you take each step, you begin to realize that there are still more challenges ahead. Yet, despite the obstacles, there's something different now. The tests you face no longer seem as overwhelming because you've grown stronger. Each trial has prepared you for something greater. What God is about to release in your life is so much bigger than you could have ever imagined, and this preparation is necessary to ensure that you can carry the weight of the blessing that is coming. The transition from struggle to blessing can often feel like crossing through a narrow door. On the other side of that door lies everything that you've been praying for. But it's not a door that is simply walked through easily. There are obstacles that require faith to overcome, endurance to make it through, and wisdom to understand how to navigate them. Each barrier is designed to make you rely on God's strength more than your own. Every door you face is not just an opportunity, it is a test of trust. Trust that God's timing is perfect. Trust that He is preparing you for what is to come, and trust that the blessings He has promised will not fail. You see, these challenges are refining your character. They are teaching you patience when you want to rush ahead. They are helping you to cultivate humility so that when the blessings come, you will not take the credit for them, but recognize that it is God alone who has brought you to this point. And as you remain faithful, you will begin to notice that what was once hard to bear has become easier to handle. The pressure, the stress, the doubts that once filled your heart are now replaced with peace and assurance. You will realize that God has been preparing you to step into a new level of authority, not only in the spiritual realm, but in the natural world as well. As God's favor begins to show up in tangible ways, you will also begin to see how much your heart has changed. The closer you get to the big breakthrough, the more you will see that God has been working on you in the unseen places. Perhaps you have dealt with issues of unforgiveness, bitterness, or fear, things that you might have buried deep within. These are areas that God has been addressing in your life, and as the blessing approaches, you will find that your heart is lighter, freer, and more open to receiving what God has for you. Your emotional landscape will be transformed, and where you once carried wounds, you will find healing and restoration. During this time, you may encounter moments of doubt or uncertainty. When the blessing is so near, the enemy will often try to make you second-guess what you have been believing for. You might whisper lies that God has forgotten you, or that you are not worthy of what's coming. But remember, when God is about to give you something big, the battle intensifies. It's a sign that the enemy is trying to stop you from receiving what God has already ordained for you. Keep your mind fixed on the promises of God. Take hold of His word and remind yourself of the victories He has already won for you. The enemy cannot stop what God has set in motion. The victory is already yours. One of the signs that you are about to step into the fullness of your blessing is that your perspective will begin to change. What once seemed impossible will now seem within reach. Your dreams will begin to feel more attainable, your vision more clear. What was once a distant hope will now be something you can touch. Your faith will rise to match the size of your dreams. You will begin to speak words of faith and expectancy. Instead of seeing obstacles, you will see opportunities. Instead of fearing the future, you will be excited about what God is about to do. This is the transformation that occurs when God begins to align you with the bigger plan He has for your life. Your mindset will shift from scarcity to abundance. You will no longer believe that there is only so much to go around, that God's blessings are limited. Instead, you will recognize that His blessings are endless, and that He is a God who delights in giving generously to those who trust in Him. The fear that held you back will be replaced by boldness. The insecurity that made you doubt yourself will be overshadowed by the confidence that comes from knowing that God has equipped you for every good work. You will step into your purpose with a renewed sense of authority, knowing that you are exactly where God wants you to be. This shift in mindset will be accompanied by a surge of creativity and innovation. When God is about to release something big, He will often inspire new ideas, new strategies, and new ways of thinking. You will begin to see possibilities where you once saw limitations. You will have the courage to take risks, to step out of your comfort zone, and to pursue things that once seemed impossible. God will open doors of opportunity that require you to think outside of the box, to trust Him even more, and to believe that He will provide the resources and the wisdom to make your dreams come true. You might also begin to experience a deeper sense of peace, one that surpasses all understanding. As the blessing draws near, the chaos and uncertainty that once filled your life will be replaced by a calm assurance that God is in control. You will find rest in His promises and confidence in His faithfulness. When things start to fall into place, there will be a sense of peace that accompanies the process, because you will know that this is the work of God. His hand will be so evident in your life that even those around you will begin to notice the favor and blessing that is following you. The people around you will be able to see the change in you. There will be an unmistakable shift in your attitude, in your outlook on life, and in the way you handle challenges. Those who knew you before will be amazed at how far you have come. They will see the hand of God on your life and be drawn to the peace and confidence you now carry. You will become a testimony of God's goodness, a living example of His faithfulness. As you walk in the blessings God is about to pour into your life, remember that this new season will not be without responsibility. God is not only blessing you for your own benefit, but He is also positioning you to be a blessing to others. The bigger the blessing, the greater the responsibility. You will be entrusted with opportunities that require you to be faithful stewards. The resources, relationships, and platforms God gives you will not be just for personal gain, but for the advancement of His kingdom. As you step into this new chapter, remember that you are blessed to be a blessing. Your success is not just about you. It is about those you will impact and the lives you will touch. The more you align yourself with God's purposes, the more you will see His blessings unfold. It's not about striving for success on your own terms. It's about seeking God's will for your life and allowing Him to lead you every step of the way. The blessings He is about to pour out on your life are a reflection of His love, faithfulness, and grace. He wants to bless you not only to fulfill your dreams, but to use you as an instrument to fulfill His purpose on the earth. As God prepares to give you something big, He will also strengthen your ability to handle it. What may seem overwhelming now will feel like second nature once you step into your destiny. You will have the skills, the wisdom, and the endurance to navigate the blessings that God is bringing your way. Just as He's been preparing you throughout this season of waiting, He will continue to equip you for the journey ahead. So if you feel that stirring in your spirit, if you sense the shifting in your circumstances, if you find yourself in a season of waiting, know that it is all part of God's perfect plan for your life. Trust in His timing. Believe in His promises. Keep walking by faith, knowing that He who has begun a good work in you will be faithful to complete it. The big blessing is on its way, and when it comes, you will be more than ready to step into it. As you move through this season of waiting, you might find yourself at times questioning whether the breakthrough you've been praying for will ever come. It's in those moments of uncertainty that God does some of His most important work. It's in the stillness and the silence that you learn to hear His voice more clearly. You learn to lean not on your own understanding, but to trust that His timing is perfect and that His plans are far better than anything you could have imagined. The waiting itself is part of the blessing. It's a time for refining, for growing deeper in your relationship with God, and for preparing your heart to receive what He has prepared for you. During this waiting period, God might remove things or people from your life. He might strip away certain comforts or securities that you thought were necessary for your happiness. He might lead you into a time of isolation where you are forced to rely on Him more than you ever have before. While it may feel lonely or uncomfortable, know that this is a sign that God is about to move in a powerful way. He is clearing the path for something big. He is creating space for His blessing to flow into your life. The things that are removed are not meant to harm you, but to make room for the new thing that God is about to do. Trust in His wisdom and His perfect plan. It is in these moments of waiting and stripping away that you will begin to see how much God loves you. His love is not contingent upon your success, your accomplishments, or your ability to earn His favor. His love is unconditional, unwavering, and constant. As you grow deeper in your understanding of His love, you will realize that the greatest blessing is not necessarily the material things that you are waiting for, but the deeper intimacy with God that you gain in the process. The blessing that God has for you is not just something external, it's something that transforms you from the inside out. As you continue to walk by faith, you will see God working behind the scenes, orchestrating events, connecting people, and aligning circumstances in ways that you cannot fully comprehend. You will start to notice doors opening at just the right moment, opportunities arising that you never expected, and people coming into your life who will be instrumental in the fulfillment of God's purpose for you. There will be moments when you feel like you are in the right place at the right time, and it will become clear that God's hand has been upon you all along. The signs that God is about to bless you are not always grand or obvious. They might not come in the form of a sudden windfall or a dramatic shift in your circumstances. Sometimes they come in subtle ways, like a sense of peace in the midst of uncertainty, a quiet assurance that God is in control, or a deep knowing in your spirit that everything is working together for your good. These signs are meant to encourage you to keep going, to remind you that God is with you, and to reassure you that He is about to do something incredible in your life. As you watch for these signs, be mindful of the small victories along the way. Celebrate the moments of progress, no matter how insignificant they may seem. Each step forward is a sign that you are closer to the blessing that God has for you. The enemy will try to distract you with discouragement, doubt, and fear. But when you focus on the signs that God is showing you, you will be able to overcome these attacks. Remember that every victory, no matter how small, is a testament to God's faithfulness and a reminder that He is working on your behalf. God's timing is always perfect, but it is rarely aligned with our own expectations. We live in a world that values instant gratification, and we often expect things to happen quickly. But God's timing is not bound by our limited perspective. He sees the bigger picture, and He knows exactly when the time is right for you to receive what He has prepared. There may be times when you feel like you are ready for the blessing, but God is still preparing you. He is still working in your heart, still shaping your character, still strengthening your faith. You might feel like you've waited long enough, but remember that the waiting is part of God's perfect plan. He knows when the time is right for you, and when it comes, it will be worth every moment of waiting. In this season of waiting, God is also building your faith. He is teaching you to trust in His promises, even when you can't see the outcome. He is teaching you to rely on His provision, even when it feels like there is no way forward. He is teaching you to hold fast to His word, even when the circumstances around you are uncertain. Every step of faith you take during this season is strengthening your foundation for the big blessing that is about to come. Your faith will be tested, but every time you choose to believe, every time you choose to trust, your faith will grow stronger, and your capacity to receive will increase. As you hold on to God's promises, remember that He is always working on your behalf. Even when you can't see it, He is never absent. He is always present, always active, always working in ways that you cannot always comprehend. There will be times when it feels like nothing is happening, but in reality, God is aligning everything in perfect order for the manifestation of His promises. Trust in His process. Trust that He is at work behind the scenes, even when you don't see immediate results. As you continue to press forward in faith, you will start to see the signs of the blessing that is on the way. Your circumstances will begin to shift, doors will begin to open, and opportunities will begin to appear. You will find yourself in the right place at the right time, meeting the right people, and being presented with the right opportunities. You will begin to recognize the hand of God in your life, and you will see how everything He has allowed you to go through has been preparing you for this moment. It is important to remember that when God is about to bless you with something big, it will not only benefit you, but it will also impact those around you. God blesses us so that we can be a blessing to others. The larger the blessing, the larger the responsibility. As God entrusts you with more, He is also calling you to steward it well. You will be positioned to help others, to pour into the lives of those in need, and to advance God's kingdom here on earth. The blessing is not just for your benefit, but for the benefit of those you will impact. Keep your heart open during this time. Keep your hands ready to receive what God has for you, but more than that, keep your heart prepared to give. Be willing to be a vessel through which God can flow His blessings to others. It is in the giving that we experience the fullness of God's blessing. The more you give, the more you will receive, because you will be aligning your heart with God's purpose. The blessing is not just for your life, it is for the world around you. As you prepare for the big blessing, continue to trust in God's perfect plan for your life. Keep pressing forward in faith, knowing that He is faithful to fulfill His promises. He has heard your prayers, He has seen your tears, and He knows the desires of your heart. He has not forgotten you, and He is about to release His blessing in ways you never imagined. Keep your eyes on Him, stay faithful in the waiting, and watch as God moves in your life in ways that will exceed your expectations. The signs are clear, the blessing is on the way. The signs that God is about to bless you are not always immediately visible to the naked eye. But when you look closely and listen carefully, you begin to sense the changes. You find yourself experiencing new levels of peace and contentment, even in situations that would normally cause stress or anxiety. This peace comes from knowing that the God who holds the universe in His hands is also holding your future. This peace is a quiet assurance that, regardless of what you face, God has everything under control. It's not a peace that comes from a lack of challenges, but rather a peace that is sustained in the midst of them. As you begin to notice this peace settling into your spirit, you will also start to feel a new sense of joy bubbling up from deep within. This joy is not based on external circumstances, but on the internal realization that God is working on your behalf. It's a joy that comes from the knowledge that He is faithful, that He will never leave you nor forsake you. This joy doesn't come because everything is perfect, but because you know the one who is in control of all things, and you trust that His plans are good, plans to give you a future and a hope. In addition to peace and joy, you will also notice a renewed sense of strength rising within you. You may have felt weak, worn out, or discouraged in the past, but suddenly you feel an inner resolve, a deep well of strength that you didn't know you had. This is a sign that God is equipping you for the journey ahead. It's a reminder that you are not walking this path alone. He is your strength, your refuge, and your fortress. As you lean on Him, you will find yourself walking with a new level of confidence, knowing that His power is made perfect in your weakness. You may also notice that God begins to place new desires in your heart, desires that align with His will and His purpose for your life. These desires will not be fleeting or self-centered, but will be rooted in love, compassion, and service to others. As you seek His will more fervently, you will begin to feel an increased sense of purpose and direction. You may feel as though you are finally stepping into the calling that God has placed on your life, a calling that you may have been unaware of until now. These new desires are a sign that God is about to do something big in your life. He is preparing you for the work He has ahead of you, and He is positioning you to be a part of His greater plan. As you move forward, you will likely experience a shift in your circumstances. Doors that were previously closed will begin to open. Relationships that were once strained may begin to heal. Opportunities that seemed impossible will start to manifest. This is the hand of God at work, moving things into place for your good. It's not that the road will suddenly become easy, but rather you will begin to see that every step you take is leading you closer to the fulfillment of the promise. The obstacles and challenges that you've faced up until this point are not in vain. They are the very things that have been preparing you for the blessing to come. Sometimes the blessing might not come in the way you expect. It might not come in the form of material wealth or worldly success. Instead, the blessing might come in the form of spiritual growth, increased wisdom, and deeper relationships. God's blessings are not always about what we can see or touch. They are about the transformation that takes place in our hearts. When God gives us something big, it often begins with a change within us, a change in our character, our perspective, and our understanding of His love. You might also notice that as you move closer to receiving the blessing, God will begin to use you to be a blessing to others. You will find yourself becoming more generous, more compassionate, and more willing to serve. The blessing that is on the way is not only for your benefit, but also for the benefit of those around you. As God blesses you, He calls you to be a vessel through which His blessings can flow to others. This is a powerful reminder that we are blessed to be a blessing. Along with these internal shifts, you may also begin to notice external signs of God's favor. You will experience breakthroughs in areas that once seemed impossible. You may receive unexpected promotions, new business opportunities, or creative ideas that set you apart from others. You might experience an increase in your influence and reach, whether in your workplace, your community, or in the lives of those around you. These external signs are a reflection of the internal work that God has been doing within you. They are proof that God is aligning circumstances in your life to bring about the fulfillment of His promises. As you see these signs unfolding, it is important to remain humble and grounded. The blessings you receive are not a reflection of your own abilities or merits, but are a testament to God's grace and faithfulness. The moment you begin to take credit for the blessings in your life is the moment you lose sight of the one who made it all possible. Remember, everything you have is a gift from God, and He deserves all the glory. When you stay humble and grateful, the blessings will continue to flow, and you will be positioned to do even greater things for His kingdom. It is also crucial to stay faithful during the waiting process. There will be moments when you feel like giving up or when doubt creeps in, but it is in those moments that you must hold on to the promises of God. The waiting is not a punishment. It's an opportunity for God to prepare you for what is ahead. Trust that He is doing a work in you that is necessary for the blessing you are about to receive. The waiting may be hard, but it is not wasted. Every moment is a part of God's perfect plan. The more you draw close to God in this season, the more you will see His hand in every detail of your life. You will recognize His fingerprints in the smallest moments, and you will see how He has been orchestrating everything for your good. Even when things don't make sense, trust that God is at work. He is faithful to finish the work He has started in you. When the time is right, He will open the doors, and the blessings will come rushing in. While you wait, continue to seek God with all your heart. Spend time in prayer, worship, and the study of His work. The more you align yourself with His will, the more you will see the signs of His blessings unfolding in your life. The waiting period is not a passive time. It's a time for active growth, preparation, and deepening your relationship with God. As you move forward in faith, keep your eyes on the signs that God is giving you. They are not meant to discourage you, but to encourage you. They are meant to remind you that God is with you, that He is working on your behalf, and that He is preparing something big for you. Don't get discouraged by the waiting. Don't lose heart when things don't seem to be happening, and don't allow fear to take root in your heart. Instead, trust in the God who sees you, knows you, and has a plan for your life. Keep your heart open, stay faithful, and know that God is about to give you something bigger than you could ever ask or imagine. God is faithful. He will not fail you. The signs are there, and the breakthrough is coming. Keep your eyes on Him. Keep your heart aligned with His purpose, and get ready to receive the blessing that He has prepared for you. Your moment is coming. You are on the verge of something great. Trust Him in the waiting and be ready for the outpouring of His goodness. The journey toward receiving God's blessing is often a quiet one, marked by subtle signs and quiet assurances. These signs don't come with fanfare or loud proclamations. Instead, they are often found in the quiet moments of reflection. The small, seemingly insignificant events that, when seen in retrospect, form a pattern of divine intervention and care. As you continue on this journey, you will begin to sense these signs with greater clarity, understanding that God is not only guiding you, but He is preparing you for something far greater than you can imagine. One of the first signs you may experience is a stirring in your spirit, a deep, unexplainable yearning to seek God more earnestly. This stirring may come through a deep sense of dissatisfaction with your current circumstances, or it may arise when you feel a powerful call to step out of your comfort zone. It is in these moments that you begin to feel that God is calling you to something bigger than yourself. This inner restlessness is not a sign of discontentment, but rather a divine invitation to trust God more fully and to open your heart to the possibilities He has for you. When you sense this stirring, it is a sign that God is positioning you for something greater. At times, this stirring will lead you to a place of deeper prayer and meditation. You may find yourself spending more time in the presence of God, seeking His direction and guidance. As you seek Him with all your heart, you may notice that your prayers become more focused, more intentional, and more aligned with His will. This is a sign that God is preparing your heart for the blessing that is to come. When you press into God in this way, He begins to reveal His plans for your life, and you begin to see glimpses of the future He is preparing for you. Another sign that God is about to do something big in your life is a noticeable shift in your relationships. You may begin to notice that people are being drawn to you in new ways, or that old relationships are beginning to heal and restore. This is a clear sign that God is working in your life, bringing people into your sphere of influence who will help you grow and fulfill the purposes He has for you. You may also notice that you feel a renewed sense of compassion and empathy for those around you. God may be using this time to prepare you for the role He is calling you to play in the lives of others. The people you encounter along the way during this season of preparation may serve as messengers, either through their words or actions that confirm the work God is doing in you. They may offer encouragement at just the right moment, speak words of wisdom that resonate with your spirit, or share insights that help you see things from a different perspective. These divine connections are part of the larger tapestry that God is weaving in your life. They serve as reminders that He is with you, working behind the scenes, orchestrating everything for your good. Sometimes the signs that God is about to bless you can be seen in the way you handle adversity. You may find yourself facing challenges or situations that would have once left you defeated and discouraged. but now you are walking through them with greater strength and resilience. This is a sign that God is strengthening you, refining you, and preparing you for the bigger blessings ahead. What once seemed like an obstacle now feels like an opportunity to grow and develop in faith. You may even find yourself thankful for the challenges you've faced, because they've allowed you to see how far you've come and how much God has done in your life. It is also possible that as you approach the moment of blessing, you will experience a shift in your desires. You may notice that your heart begins to long for things that are more in alignment with God's will for your life. Where once your desires were driven by the pursuit of worldly success or approval, now your desires are centered on doing the will of God and bringing glory to His name. This transformation in your desires is a sign that God is at work in you, reshaping your heart to reflect His own. During this time, you may also find yourself being called to give in ways that you haven't before. God may place a burden on your heart to serve others, to give generously, or to step into leadership in a way that you never imagined. These acts of service are not just about meeting the needs of others, they are part of God's plan to prepare you for the blessings He has in store for you. As you give, you are not only being a vessel of His love and grace, but also positioning yourself to receive the fullness of what He has promised. You may also notice that your faith is deepening during the season, where once you may have struggled with doubt or fear. Now you are stepping out in faith, trusting that God is leading you into something greater. This growing faith is a sign that God is strengthening your trust in Him, enabling you to walk confidently into the future He has prepared for you. As you step forward in faith, you will begin to see the obstacles that once seemed insurmountable begin to shrink in size. With every step you take, you will experience God's provision, His guidance, and His faithfulness in ways you never imagined. In the midst of this preparation, you may also experience moments of quiet rest and reflection. These moments of stillness are not a sign of inactivity, but rather a sign that God is replenishing you, renewing your strength, and preparing your heart to receive His blessings. It is in these quiet moments that you can hear the still small voice of God speaking to your spirit, reminding you that He is with you every step of the way. The rest that He provides is not just physical rest, but spiritual and emotional rest as well. It is a reminder that you don't have to strive or force things to happen. God is in control, and He is working on your behalf. As God prepares you for the blessing, He will also begin to give you greater clarity regarding your purpose. You may find that your sense of direction becomes clearer, and that your understanding of what you are meant to do with your life is illuminated in new ways. This clarity is a sign that God is equipping you to walk into the fullness of the calling He has placed on your life. You may feel a renewed sense of purpose, knowing that God is not only preparing you for the blessing, but also preparing you to be a blessing to others. The sense of purpose that you experience during this time is part of the larger plan God has for you. You may also notice that God begins to provide for you in unexpected ways. The provision may not always come in the form you expect, but it will always be sufficient for the need at hand, whether through financial provision, relational healing, or unexpected opportunities. You will see that God is actively at work, providing for you, meeting your needs, and making a way where there seems to be no way. This provision is a sign that God is preparing to pour out His blessings on you in abundance. You will look back and realize that God has been working all along, even when you couldn't see it. As the signs continue to unfold, it's important to remember that the journey is just as significant as the destination. The preparation process is not something to rush through or to become impatient with. Each step along the way is building your faith, deepening your trust, and making you ready to receive the incredible blessing that God has prepared for you. When you look back on this season, you will see how every moment, every challenge, and every sign was part of God's perfect plan. In the meantime, stay faithful, stay focused, and continue to seek God with all your heart. The signs are all around you. They are not always loud or dramatic, but they are clear to those who are paying attention. As you continue to walk in obedience, trust, and faith, you will see the manifestation of God's blessings in ways that will leave you in awe of His goodness. The wait will be worth it, and the blessing that is coming will be beyond anything you could have imagined. God is faithful, and He is preparing something big for you. I can sense that God is moving in ways that might seem subtle, but are significant. The waiting period, as much as it may seem like an uncertain time, is often the moment when God is cultivating within you something deeper, something stronger. When God is about to give you something big, you can be assured that He is working behind the scenes. There are moments in your life when the Lord will hide His hand, and it might feel like you are walking through a season of silence. But in that silence, God is preparing you in ways you may not see yet. It's during these times that He's shaping your heart, developing your character, and making you more capable of receiving the blessing He is about to pour into your life. These signs I speak of, they don't just appear overnight. They come with purpose, and they come when your heart is ready to receive them. Sometimes before God blesses you with something big, He first purges away the old, those things that have weighed you down, those habits and thoughts that no longer serve you. These things could be fear, doubt, or even old relationships that have served their purpose and are keeping you from walking into what God has for you next. The process might feel painful, but it is necessary for what lies ahead. As the refiner's fire burns away the impurities, God is refining you for His perfect work. When God is preparing you for something big, there's a noticeable shift in your spirit. You will experience moments where you feel compelled to let go of what you thought was necessary for your life, but in doing so, you will find peace. The blessings that God is preparing for you cannot coexist with the weight of the past. You will begin to feel this sense of lightness, almost as if a burden is lifting off your shoulders. The release of the old will make way for the new, and this will become a clear sign that something is stirring within you. The restlessness that you feel in your spirit is another sign. It's as if you know something is coming, but you're not sure exactly what it is. This kind of restlessness is not a bad thing. It is the Holy Spirit urging you to get ready to prepare for what's ahead. You can feel this in the quiet of the night, when you lie awake and think about your future, or in those quiet moments when you sense God's presence drawing near. It's a quiet excitement that builds in your heart, because deep down you know that your life is about to change. When God is about to give you something big, that restlessness is a sign that He is preparing you to step into a new season of greatness. Along with this inner stirring comes the guidance of the Holy Spirit. God doesn't leave us in the dark. As He prepares us for something big, He opens our eyes to see the steps we need to take, the doors we need to walk through. There may be certain opportunities that begin to open up to you, seemingly out of nowhere. These opportunities are not mere coincidences. They are orchestrated by God Himself. You will begin to recognize that these opportunities, whether they come in the form of relationship, or job offers, or even new ventures, are part of the divine plan He is unfolding in your life. When God is preparing you for something big, He aligns circumstances and people in such a way that you cannot help but see His hand at work. In moments of quiet reflection, you will sense a deeper connection with God. It is in this place of prayer and intimacy that He will reveal things to you that were once hidden. The Word of God will come alive in a way it never has before. Scriptures that you have read many times will begin to speak to you personally, offering you insight and encouragement. It is as if the Lord is speaking directly into your heart, showing you the path you must take and reassuring you that the journey you are on is leading you to something glorious. This deepening relationship with God is another sign that He is preparing you for what's next. Furthermore, your faith will be tested in ways that refine you and prepare you for what's coming. When God is about to bless you with something big, you will find that the trials you face have a purpose. These tests aren't meant to break you, but to strengthen you. God knows your heart, and He knows the exact lessons you need to learn to be ready for the blessing He is about to pour out. These tests may come in the form of financial hardship, relational struggles, or moments of doubt. But each one is an opportunity to exercise your faith and trust that God is with you. As you navigate through these challenges, you will find yourself leaning more on God than ever before. This growing faith is a sign that God is preparing you for the big things He has in store. Along with the testing of your faith comes a period of waiting. Often, when God is about to give us something big, the waiting can seem unbearable. It's easy to grow impatient, to wonder if God has forgotten us, or if we will ever see the manifestation of His promises. But let me tell you, the waiting is never in vain. It is during the waiting that God builds anticipation in your heart. He strengthens your character, and He teaches you to trust Him with every part of your life. Waiting isn't a sign of inactivity. It's a season of preparation. It's in the waiting that God positions you for the blessing that's about to come. During this time of waiting, you may begin to see others around you receiving blessings. Perhaps your friends or family are experiencing breakthroughs, and you find yourself celebrating their victories. While it's natural to feel like your turn is overdue, this is actually a sign that God is moving not just in their lives, but also in yours. Rejoicing in the blessings of others is an act of faith and an acknowledgement that God's timing is perfect. When you see others being blessed, know that it's a sign that you are next. Your breakthrough is coming, and the seeds you've sown in faith are about to yield a harvest. In addition to the signs already mentioned, you will also begin to feel a greater sense of purpose in your life. When God is about to give you something big, He aligns your heart with His purpose for you. You may feel a deeper sense of calling, an awareness that your life is meant for more than just survival. You will begin to see your circumstances through the lens of purpose. Instead of asking why things are happening, you will begin to ask how God can use them for His glory. This transformation in perspective is a clear sign that God is preparing you for something extraordinary. When you experience these signs, it's important to remain steadfast in your faith and continue to walk in obedience. The process of preparation isn't always easy, but it's always worth it. You might not see the full picture now, but as you remain faithful, you will witness the incredible way in which God orchestrates every detail of your life to bring about the blessing He has promised. The signs you are experiencing now are not just random events. They are divine markers on the road to the great things God is about to reveal to you. As you continue to move forward, remember that the journey you are on is a part of a greater plan. God's timing is always perfect. What He is preparing for you is not just for you, it's for His glory and the good of those around you. When God is about to give you something big, He doesn't just prepare you for the blessing. He prepares those who will benefit from it as well. The blessing you are about to receive will have a ripple effect, touching lives and bringing glory to God in ways you cannot yet understand. Trust in His plan. Hold on to His promises, and keep moving forward with faith and anticipation. The big blessing is on its way, and God is already at work preparing you for it. There are moments in your life when God begins to move in ways that are beyond your understanding. It's almost as if the very air around you is charged with the divine purpose. You may not see it immediately, but deep within you, you begin to sense that something significant is coming. This feeling is not just a random thought or wishful thinking, but rather the stirring of God's hand at work in your life. He has plans for you that are greater than anything you could ever imagine. And when God is about to bless you with something big, He prepares your heart in ways that may feel both comforting and unsettling. One of the first signs that God is about to do something big in your life is an increased sense of urgency. It may feel like your spirit is being stirred up, like there's a fire inside of you that you can't quite put out. This fire will push you to move, to step out of your comfort zone, and to begin to do things that you wouldn't have done before. It's as if God is gently nudging you forward, whispering into your heart that the time is now, that you are ready, even if you don't feel like you are. The urgency is not a call for frantic action, but rather a signal to start preparing, to start taking steps in the direction that God is leading you. This is when you begin to feel the weight of your purpose, and it becomes clear that you can no longer sit still. There is a work to be done, and God is using this stirring to push you toward the destiny He has in store for you. In moments like these, you will begin to notice that old patterns in your life start to fade away. You may feel that the things that once occupied your time, your energy, and your thoughts no longer hold the same significance. Habits that used to be comforting are suddenly unfulfilling. You may find yourself drawn to new interests, new passions, and even new people who seem to be aligned with what God is doing in your life. This is a sign that God is clearing the path for something new. The old is being stripped away to make room for the new thing He is about to bring into your life. This might feel uncomfortable at times, but it's part of God's process of preparing you for the big things ahead. He is aligning your heart, your mind, and your actions with His divine purpose. Another powerful sign that God is about to give you something big is the feeling of being stretched beyond your comfort zone. You might find yourself facing challenges that you never thought you would encounter. You might be confronted with situations that require you to trust in God in ways that you have never had to before. This stretch is not a sign of defeat, but a sign of growth. God does not take you through difficult times to break you down, but to build you up. In this season of stretching, you will experience an expansion of your faith, your patience, and your ability to endure. It's in the stretching that God forms in you the strength and character you need to receive the blessing He has prepared for you. During this time, God may also bring people into your life who will help guide and shape you for what's ahead. These people may come in the form of mentors, friends, or even strangers who cross your path at just the right moment. They will speak words of encouragement, share wisdom, and sometimes even challenge you to think differently. These relationships are not by chance. They are divinely orchestrated. God is surrounding you with people who will help you navigate the path ahead and support you as you walk into the new season He is preparing for you. The right people will always appear at the right time, and as they come into your life, you will feel a sense of alignment as if the pieces of your life are falling into place. In addition to the people He brings into your life, God will also begin to show you opportunities that you might have overlooked before. When God is about to give you something big, He opens doors that were once closed. These opportunities might not look like the ones you expected, but they will be the very doors you need to walk through to reach the next phase of your journey. As these opportunities arise, you may feel a sense of doubt or fear, wondering if you are truly ready for what lies ahead. But remember, God does not call the qualified. He qualifies the cold. If God is opening a door, He has already prepared you to walk through it. Your job is to have the faith to step into what He is calling you to. These opportunities are signs that God is at work, preparing you for the big thing that is coming your way. Another sign that God is preparing you for something big is the deepening of your spiritual life. As He works in your heart, He draws you closer to Himself. You may find yourself spending more time in prayer, more time in His Word, more time reflecting on His goodness and His promises. The closer you get to God, the more you begin to understand the magnitude of what He is doing in your life. Your spiritual eyes will be opened, and you will begin to see things from a heavenly perspective. The things that once seemed impossible now seem attainable, because you know that with God all things are possible. The deepening of your relationship with God is a sign that you are preparing to receive the big blessings He has in store for you. But with these signs of preparation, there will also be moments of spiritual warfare. When God is about to bless you, the enemy will try to stop you. He will send distractions, doubts, and discouragements your way in an attempt to derail you from the path that God has set before you. During these times, you must stand firm in your faith, knowing that the battles you face are not against flesh and blood, but against the spiritual forces of evil. As you recognize these attacks for what they are, you will become more aware of the authority you have in Christ. Your prayers will become more fervent, more focused, and more powerful as you fight the good fight of faith. These moments of opposition are simply confirmation that you are on the right path and that God's blessing is closer than ever. As God continues to prepare you, you will also begin to see a shift in your mindset. The way you think about your circumstances, your abilities, and your future will begin to change. You will begin to think bigger, to dream more boldly, and to believe that nothing is impossible with God. This shift in perspective is a sign that you are becoming aligned with God's vision for your life. You will begin to see opportunities where you once saw obstacles, and you will start to believe in your own potential in a way that you never have before. This transformation of your mind is essential to receiving the blessings that God is about to give you. Without this shift in thinking, you would not be able to step into the fullness of what God has prepared for you. In these moments of preparation, it's also crucial to remember that God's timing is perfect. It's easy to become impatient and wonder when the blessing will come, but God's timing is never off. He knows exactly when you are ready, when the time is right, and when all the pieces of the puzzle will fall into place. Trusting in His timing is a powerful sign that you are growing in faith and maturity. While you may not understand why things are happening the way they are, you can rest assured that God's plan is unfolding exactly as it should. The wait is not a delay. It's a divine setup for the great things that are about to come your way. As you continue on this journey, it's important to remain obedient to God's leading. The signs that you are about to receive something big are not an invitation to sit back and relax, but to lean in and trust God with every step. Each sign is a prompt to press forward in faith, to continue walking in obedience, and to believe that what God has promised will come to pass. When you are faithful in the little things, when you honor God in the small moments, you will see His faithfulness in the big things. Keep your eyes fixed on Him. Stay rooted in His Word and trust in the process. When the time is right, the blessing will come, and you will see that God has been with you every step of the way. The journey of preparation is just as important as the blessing itself. It's in these moments that God shapes you, molds you, and prepares you to receive what He has in store. The signs you are experiencing are not coincidences. They are divine markers, pointing you towards something far greater than you can comprehend. Keep moving forward, keep trusting, and keep believing that God is about to do something incredible in your life. The blessing is on its way, and when it arrives, it will be more than worth the wait. As we stand on the precipice of what God is about to do in our lives, it is important to remember that every sign, every moment of preparation is part of His divine plan. The urgency in your spirit, the stretching of your faith, the people He brings into your life, and the doors He opens are all signs that you are being prepared for something greater than you can imagine. Trust in the process, even when it feels uncomfortable or uncertain. Know that God is faithful and His timing is always perfect. The road may not always be easy, but the blessings that are coming will far outweigh the challenges you face. As you continue to walk in obedience, stay rooted in His Word and trust in His leading. Remember that the big thing God is about to give you is not just for you. It's for His glory. Your life is a testimony of His faithfulness, and as He blesses you, He will use your story to inspire others. Keep your eyes on Him, hold fast to His promises, and trust that what He has in store for you will be beyond your wildest dreams. The signs are clear, the preparation is underway, and the blessing is on the way. Keep walking in faith and be ready to receive all that God has prepared for you.